It's the big lie that our culture has put on us in saying, you're not worthy unless you can accomplish X, Y, and Z, unless you're holding all of these plates in the air and you're juggling and everything's just, 100% perfect or looks perfect from the outside. And you have this image to uphold, right? That's a scary place to be.
Welcome to Collective Guidance with your host, Charla Goodnight. This is a space where we come together to share wisdom, stories, and insights from thought leaders and everyday humans alike. Here, you'll find conversations on spirituality, health, wellness, parenting, and the human experience, all designed to remind you that you are not alone and that we are all connected. Let's step into the guidance we can only find together. Welcome to Collective Guidance with your host, Charla Goodnight. I am immensely grateful to have you join us for this conversation today. Lately, I have really been in it. And I know there are moments of our lives where we find ourselves immersed in the schedules, obligations, social commitments, family commitments, and career and more. Everything feels like it's piling up. We are going nonstop. It feels like we can't even take a breath. Everybody wants something from us. We can't see an end to the busyness. And before you know it, like my friend just recently said jokingly, I just want to quit life. My guest today, Gina Ramirez, says, no, 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 girl, we are not quitting. This is a time to strategize life. And she is here to remind us how to do just that. Gina is a certified women's health coach and yoga instructor specializing in women's wellness. She supports women from pregnancy to menopause who are navigating the physical and emotional demands of juggling a career, family, and our life. We have these lives that we really want to live, and she's here to support us in that. Her approach weaves together mindful movement, breath work, big fan of, lifestyle shifts, and holistic nutrition, forming a supportive practice that adapts to each stage of life because there are so many stages that we're going through. Gina, thank you so much for joining me today. I am in immense gratitude to have you with us.
I am thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome. So let's dive right in. For our listeners out there that are going nonstop, and I was just going through that, how do they manage a busy schedule without losing their minds and being like, fuck it, I quit?
It is so hard, especially when you've got a lot on your plate and a career that you love, a family that you love. You're trying to give 100% to all the things, and it starts to fall apart. And let's not even mention holidays, birthdays, anniversaries, things that add an extra layer onto the already busy schedule. One of the first things that we always talk about in session is getting aligned with what's important to you. And while everybody says that, that's not something that's aha moment that you didn't already know. But I think we have to come back to basics when it comes to getting aligned again with what is important to you, what you say is important to you, because a lot of times what we say is important isn't exactly how we're living our life.
That is so true. What we say is important is not necessarily how we're always living our lives because we're getting pulled into other directions. Distractions are real though. And we're constantly distracted in life. And you have said multitasking isn't helping you. Whereas a mom, a business owner, trying to have a social life, in trying to have your own individuality. What's your tools for that?
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard lesson to learn when you're going at it 100 miles an hour and then, your health kind of slaps you in the face. And that's exactly what happened to me when we're doing all the things and we're trying to give 100%. And it's never choosing between a good and a bad, right? It's always like this good and good. And both things seem to be beneficial, whether it's for your kids or for yourself, that you think I have to do all of this or I have to push my kids to do X, Y, and Z, be in all the clubs. And then that means I'm driving them to all the places. So it puts even more burden on yourself. And it seems like a good idea when in all actuality, pulling back, especially in the busy seasons, because we have this ebb and flow, I feel like, to life. So sometimes there's going to be busier seasons than others. And if you can project that out, I don't know any busy woman who doesn't live by their calendar, right? So getting the calendar out and being able to say, this is going to be a busy season. Where can I begin to pull back? And sometimes that's just time management.
Yeah. How do you decide what's the right thing? Like, how do you decide what to pull back?
I think it goes back to the priorities, like what is really important to me. And when I sit down with these busy women, I say, okay, tell me three things. What are your top three things that no matter what, this I live and die by these three things? And you know what they always say? Almost always, number one is going to be family or spirituality,
Yeah.
one of those two. So when I look at your calendar, I better see that reflected, right? When we've got all these other things reflected, and again, it's always a good and a good that I'm choosing between. But if I don't see those top three, then something's not right. We're going to have some dissonance somewhere. There's going to be some tension and there's going to be stress when I'm not putting what I say is important to me at the forefront.
Yeah. Because you're not living how you want to live. You're not living in aligned. And when you say living aligned, what exactly are you talking about? Are you talking about those three top priorities? Give me your thoughts on alignment.
Yeah, I don't say balance because I don't think there's such a thing. I think we're making micro tweaks every day, every hour, every minute. We're micro tweaking to get back into what feels good, what feels right in the body and in the mind. And I don't think there's a separation between those two, even though for a lot of people, they're not in the mind body way that I would like them to be. But, when it feels right, in both places, then we're in alignment. When we're never going to be without stress, we're never going to be completely balanced, but there can be alignment when we're living in what you say is important to you.
Yeah. What are some tools that they can really kind of like get back into alignment?
I think it's a great idea to just sit down with yourself, especially as we come toward the end of the year, and just take inventory, right? Of what is it that's going to be important to me in the upcoming year? What are the top three things? And big picture things like tell me about themes that you want to see. What's the through line here that we can look at the next year and base it on this present year? Like what's happened? Go through your phone, look at photographs. Where are you spending your time? Has it been a stressful season? And what can we do to decrease some of that stress?
Yeah. Yeah, take an inventory. I like to kinda take inventory, like, every 3 months, um,
Oh,
in the year, every 3 months and say, "Okay, I just got through the first 3 months," and breaking it up into 4 quarters. I got done with the first 3 months, and now what is the next 3 months gonna look like for me? Uh,
wow, that's smart. That's really smart.
Yeah, it kinda works for me, and it helps, I don't wanna say it helps me get it all in frame to where I'm not too chaotic. Like, if you ask me, "What is my January gonna look like?" I can tell you exactly what my January is going to look like. So because like I know what my February is going to look like. I know what December, January, and February is going to look like. Come January, I'll look at, February, March, April. So I kind of know those 3 months, what I can and can't give to not feel
Yeah,
overwhelmed.
right. That's exactly it. And it takes that inventory process, right? Of consistently checking in with yourself and not just with your calendar, but with your body to see how does this make me feel? If I'm taking this on, am I excited about it? Is it expansive? Or am I feeling really constricted and tight and something about this doesn't feel good, you know? So really asking yourself those questions.
Yeah. Let's dive into a little bit of like, I spoke about career. I have a friend that is a very successful realtor. I mean, if you need to buy a home in Naples in particular, she is the woman for it. And, she was like, I want to quit my life. And quit my life had a lot to do with the career. And so how is it possible to have a career you love and a fulfilling personal life at the same time? I mean, she loves her career. It pays her a lot of money. She genuinely loves the clients. She would take on more, but it's a lot. What's your take on that?
Yeah, it is a lot, and I have girlfriends the same, that have this beautiful career and that are at the top of their game, so to speak, when it comes to their career. So they're making a lot of money, but they also have families, and trying to juggle that is a lot. And I get this question all the time, well, can you have it all? How do you manage it all? And I say you can have it all, but you also have to get help. So you can't be the one to do it all. It takes getting some help.
What does that look like? Is it hiring people? Like, what do you
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. What can you farm out to somebody else? And maybe that's somebody's coming to clean your house or somebody's doing your laundry. Your time is your most precious commodity. So, and that's in your career and also in your personal life, right? Everybody wants a piece of your time. So, what can you farm out so that you have more of it? And they're taking your time and it's all good again, because you love the career and you love your family time, but you also have to consider, am I giving any time back to myself? So there's three pieces of that you want to give away. One's to me, one's to my family, one's to my career. And how do I do that? Right. So farm it out, delegate what you can.
Yeah, that's good. I told her, "Look, take a vacation." Told her. I was like, "No need to quit life. Just find a way to fill your cup up in some other way." My solution whenever I feel like I, am going to struggle city or just that feeling of overwhelm is to be like, "Fuck it, I'm getting on my bike," or "Fuck it, I'm going for a walk." I can't control everything, and when I get back from moving my body, I'm going to feel better, or
Yeah.
or I say, "Fuck it, I'm going to meditate," like, and I'm like, "Screw this. I have to step away. I'm not gonna allow myself to be overwhelmed. I am not going
Yeah.
to struggle city." I call it struggle city.
Yeah, well, and you're giving time back to yourself. That's a perfect example of giving time back to you. So you have to figure out what that means for yourself. And maybe you get your cup filled up by giving time or spending time with family. I rarely hear a woman tell me that they get their cup filled up by spending time in their career, even though they love their career and love what they do. It's mainly, I need to fill my cup doing these other two areas buckets, so to speak, whether it's family or personally.
Right, right. Um, how do you pivot once you decide that, um you've been giving so much to this one area and you're like, "Oh, no, no, this doesn't work for me anymore." How do you pivot without completely jumping off the building of life and being like, F this,
Yeah.
instead of making it so dramatic and quitting, how do you just pivot? What's your thoughts on that?
Instead of moving to Costa Rica, right? And just getting away. Yeah, baby steps, baby steps. Yeah, maybe you take that yoga retreat in Costa Rica
Yeah.
instead. Yeah, finding ways to just baby step your way there, is what I say. Yeah,
Yeah, and when you pivot, it's also a pivoting of emotion because we have to be able to turn our emotion around. Like, okay,
yeah,
you're in this effing sucks. I can't take it anymore. I'm really overwhelmed. Everybody wants something from me. And it's really it's a pivoting of thoughts and your emotion towards it.
100%. Yeah. Yeah, you are making that big shift. And it's also a crucial conversation that you're having, right? So not only with yourself, but with your partner, with your kids, with your coworkers to say, listen, I'm making this shift or I'm, doing this little thing. I'm going to take a walk at lunch. So I'm not going to be here to answer your questions. I'm not going to answer my phone anymore or answer emails at 2 a.m. So you're having those conversations too.
Yeah. You're setting
Hmm.
the
Yeah,
boundaries.
you don't want anybody to be surprised, right, that this is happening. You don't want this big, gigantic shift to disrupt your whole world. And if you're framing what's about to happen to those people, to those people or coworkers, it makes the landing a little softer.
Yeah, to where they're not like, she's gone rogue.
Yes. Or what happened? You're not giving 100% anymore.
Right.
Then it becomes an ugly conversation. We don't want that.
A lot of times we put on these responsibilities for ourselves to hold up face, to hold up this belief that we can do it all. And so with clients, how do you help them distinguish, is this coming from ego, or do I really need all of these responsibilities to have on my plate? Or is this ego? Is this me saying, look, everyone, I'm fabulous, I can do it all, but really you're going to burn out.
Yeah. I think of it kind of, yes, it's ego and yes, it's also pride. And I feel like it's the big lie. It's the big lie that our culture has put on us in saying, you're not worthy unless you can accomplish X, Y, and Z, unless you're holding all of these plates in the air and you're juggling and everything's just, 100% perfect or looks perfect from the outside. And you have this image to uphold, right? That's a scary place to be. It really is a scary place to be where you have to continue to uphold that. And yeah, it does become that's part of me. It's who I am. It is an ego thing. But is it disrupting your life? Is it disrupting your peace and your harmony? Is it a problem? Because until it becomes a problem and until you decide, I don't want this anymore, then it's business as usual, right?
Yeah.
I think you have to come to that sense yourself of, ooh, this isn't working for me.
Yeah, and how do you guide them into doing that self audit?
I think we go back to what are those three things that you told me in the beginning that are important to you. Because if you've got some dis-ease, not disease, but dis-ease
Mhm.
in the body and the mind, then there's some kind of disconnect happening. You're not living in alignment, which is causing you to feel that burnout or too much stress. We're teetering now into that area.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's not a place that any of us want to be, but yet a lot of us find ourselves there often.
Yeah. And I think, again, it goes back to those seasons of life. So if you can predict when it's going to be that busy season, and you can have those crucial conversations and you can back away maybe from some of your commitments, then, oh, okay, I can do this. I can handle this. I've got people that I trust. That's another thing with trying to take on, all these responsibilities. Oh, I can't delegate because I don't trust that somebody else is going to do it just like I do it or to my standard. So, yeah, getting over that hump.
Any advice on how they can trust better?
I think you just have to do it in baby steps and be okay when it's not the way that you're going to do it. Because guess what? It's not going to be perfect and it's not going to be the way that you do it. And it's okay. Everybody's going to live.
Yeah, I think as women, we go through these moments where we feel like we have to have perfectionism in in what we do, and that causes the most stress for us. What's your guide on releasing perfectionism?
Well, asking the question, why are you holding on so tightly to this? There's a reason. There's a reason there of what's going on with you, and why does it feel like you need to have that, whatever that thing is
Yeah,
that you feel like you need. Yeah. What is it about that feels so important?
yeah, yeah, and, I think sometimes they don't even know.
No.
It's just a they have no control of anything else that's going on. At least I know in my experience when I have focused on this like perfectionism thing, and I am not a perfectionist whatsoever, and I don't really care. You know what I mean? Like I don't care if things are like perfect, except all the time. No, I'm just joking. I was gonna say, except 1 year for, Christmas Eve, I made an amazing Christmas dinner, and I did get upset because my crème brûlée didn't turn out perfectly, and so, um, it really is about that releasing control and knowing that it's gonna be it's okay, it's not.
Yeah. And releasing the outcome. Release the outcome to whatever is going to be. It's going to be just fine, even when it's not up to your expectations. And that's another thing, what is the expectation here that you're holding on? So why are you holding on so tightly? And what is your expectation for it to happen? And maybe that means that you have to have detailed notes of how you want this thing to end up when you're handing it off to whoever, you know?
Yeah, having an assistant, I have really had to get really specific
Yeah.
on what I want or I need, which is
Hmm.
a lot of times it's hard for us as women to say, I need XYZ, um, because we're not really that sure on what we need because we're just so used to doing it ourselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah, I know that you have a coaching business and you have a program that you that's available for people to join. What's your program like? Tell me a little bit about that.
A Woman's Guide to Intentional Living. That is one of the programs that I absolutely love. And it's a three-part program that talks about stress, what every woman is familiar with, stress and burnout, and the physiological process that happens, meaning what's going on in my body, not just up here, because a lot of times I think we think of stress as just what's going on in my head, but actually what's going on within the body that leads to stressful behaviors. When you think about stress, people do all sorts of crazy things, eat too much, drink too much, just to feel a sense of calm. So that's part of it. The second part of it is talking about the daily deposit framework, which is my framework for not ever getting overly stressed. So putting in daily deposits into your health bank, and we talk about the different accounts. It's just like having a bank account. You have your checking account, you have your savings account, and if you're like me, your mortgage comes right out of your account. You're not like writing checks, it's just coming out, right? Stress is the same way. It takes withdrawals, and it'll take a withdrawal from every single life account that we have. So even though you may not be sleeping, which is under the physical account. You're not sleeping because maybe your mind is just going and going. You've got monkey mind over what your stressful situation is. So that part is under the mental account. So we've got 5 accounts: mental, physical, social, spiritual, and career. 5 accounts, and stress will take from all of those accounts. So even though the stressful event may be happening in one account, it's in all of them. So we really need to be putting deposits, daily deposits, so that when stressful things come, we're able to handle it because we've got reserve, just like compound interest. And then the third part is looking forward, casting vision for what you want to see happen in your life. So it's really comprehensive.
What do you mean casting vision, or are you talking about goals? Is that what you mean?
Yes, and what you want to see going forward. So now that you know how stress is affecting you, now that you know the daily deposit system, what happens next basically? How do you apply that then to your life moving forward?
To attain that which you desire.
Mhm.
Yeah. How long is that program for?
It's just a 3-part program. You work through it on your own. So yeah, it's great.
Yeah, that sounds great. I love that. The deposits, making the deposits in each category. And you said there's 5 categories.
There's 5 life accounts, yes.
Yeah.
Mental, physical, social, spiritual, and your career. And how are you adding to those life accounts? I had one gal who during COVID, so, working from home, she was schooling her kids at home, everything was happening at home, and
Mhm.
she would find herself working till like 6 or 7 o'clock at night. And she said, finally decided I'm shutting it down at 5 o'clock. I'm going to take a walk in the neighborhood because we couldn't go anywhere, right? During that time. So 5 o'clock came, shut the computer, would go for a walk with her family. So she was taking care of her mental health by just closing things down, going for a walk, physical, being with her family, social, and she felt like being out in nature was very much a spiritual aspect for her. So one activity taking care of all 5 accounts.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, the great way of combining those all together. Nature is so spiritual too. Being out.
Yes.
I was just in Asheville, North Carolina, and it was a trip that I didn't even know that I needed. I accepted it a day before, and it grounded me so much being in nature and hiking and
Absolutely.
the trees, and
Mhm.
being in nature is really can ground you and bring you back.
Yes.
And so it is an individual work on your own pace program.
Yes, with videos, downloads, a workbook, all of that is included.
And do you work with clients individually as well?
Yes,
And
one-on-one.
what type of work do you do with them?
Just what we're talking about right now.
Oh, okay.
Like getting back to basics and getting a handle on what is going on with life, whether that might be hormones, getting balanced in my life and in my food. So we talk a lot about movement, nutrition, but with working women, it's a lot about stress. A lot weight loss is another big topic, but it all kind of to me, it all kind of stems back from let's lower the emotional temperature, let's lower the stress level because when we give the body what it needs, it will give you back what you're searching for. But if we can give it the right environment, things will start to happen.
Yeah, you mentioned breath work. What's your take on breath work? How do you implement that with clients?
That's a great question, and it goes back to the nervous system, right? So being in rest and digest space, being able to engage the vagus nerve and really getting into that space of, "Oh, I can take this delicious exhale," and not have to be.
So for
Yeah,
people that don't know what the vagus nerve is, can you tell them?
yeah, so we have this internal connection between the gut and the brain, and so it's like, text messages being sent back and forth between the 2, and that's the highway, right? So if I want to get into that rest and digest space using breath work, I'm gonna engage that system by inhaling and exhaling, by using the diaphragm, and there's so many different breath techniques. So I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but just by being aware, as we get stressed, we tend to breathe more from the chest instead of the diaphragm, and our breath gets shorter and shorter. So as we
Forget to
begin,
breathe. We don't even realize we're not breathing.
right,
Yeah.
right. And as we begin to get more into that rest and digest space, we're taking deeper breaths, we're feeling into the body and being able to make those decisions based on in alignment, mind and body.
Yeah, I did a whole episode on breath work, and I've had someone else come on and speak. Breath work is amazing. It is such a great way to bring your nervous system back into alignment.
Yeah, it's the fastest way actually to get out of stress mode is to take 3 deep breaths. It will change your biology.
Mm, yeah, I like changing my biology. Anything that I can do to like make a shift in my body, I'm like, bring it on.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah. I love all of this, Gina. If someone wants to find out more about you, work with you, how can they connect with you?
Wellnesswithgina.com is a great way. It's the website. It's a great way to just check out what's being offered there. Yeah.
Okay. And then are you on any social platforms where they can follow you out there?
LinkedIn is another one. Again, it's Wellness with Gina and also Instagram.
Okay. Wellness with Gina on Instagram as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Awesome. Well, if you resonate with what Gina is sharing and you just want more information, please feel free to reach out with her. I think um I think mitigating our stress and learning how to decrease our stress will only elevate our lives to another state. And we're not walking around in this, I want to quit attitude or belief. And to my friend out there, if you listen to this episode, thank you for inspiring it by our text message of this is bullshit, you know? Life doesn't have to. It can be roses. It can be the scent of roses. And thank you so much, Gina, for coming on, joining me, sharing about how to mitigate stress and why it's so important to go back to the 3 priorities that are important in your life. And that is the one of the best ways to just pivot in life is go back to the 3 things that are most important and focus on those 3 things and say no to everything else. And it's okay to say no. So if you like this episode, please hit the like button, leave us a comment, subscribe. And we are in immense gratitude for you sharing space with us and being with us in this moment with a stress free season, tons of joy and love. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining me today on Collective Guidance. I hope you feel lighter, more inspired, and deeply connected to your own path. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Collective Guidance or our website, collectiveguidance.com. If this episode resonated with you, please share it with a friend and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, may you walk with clarity, courage, joy, and love.